Hello. So the fourth step again is activation, and you'll need a nice wand. You could also use the selenite blade or a white crystal quartz. And to activate is to have those crystals work together, amplifying your intention with your affirmation. And I showed you before how to connect all of them. But before you begin all of that, just remember, as I said earlier, to really send out your prayer of intention with all of the grids, bless them, thank them, and send that light and healing energy out before you begin to work with them. Expressing that gratitude and love in that way creates a powerful, powerful magnetic vibration with your crystals and activates the healing power of the stone. I specifically like to put my hands over the stone and do it like so for a few minutes, really sending Reiki, because I'm a Reiki teacher, but you can just send your prayer of intention. Imagine white healing light clearing the crystals of anything less than light and putting your intention into the grid and connecting it to the highest frequency healing energies. Again, I like to say the Christ of consciousness, but you can say the highest frequency healing energies, where you can connect the grid to heaven, whatever really works for you. But doing that is a way of magnifying and activating the light energy of the crystals. So here's my sample grid for spiritual guidance. And you see I use the Star of David shape, and the printout beneath it isn't any of the printouts I showed you, but that's the name of God in Hebrew and all the different ways that it can be said. And my affirmation for that is divine intelligence guides me daily so that I may use my life to spread my light and love endlessly. And I charge this grid with light and love to connect with God and my angels. And so for me, this is my method of prayer and how I connect to source and hear my divine speaking to and through me. Some crystal tips. When you get your crystals, you're going to definitely need to clear them in a way that works for you. Smudge is nice, or any other method that you're familiar with cleansing the crystals, and bless them. Say that prayer of intention. So when you bring them home, treat them like the special objects that they are, and spend some time doing this till you feel that they're really, really cleared of all the energies brought in and fully charged with your intention and prayer. When you go to activate the grid, as I showed you, do not touch your wand to the actual stone. So if this is my center stone, I'm not bringing it to it. I'm above it and I'm drawing lines of light. Spend the time and energy right away to set up your grid properly in a sacred way. Have some time alone, burn some incense, make it a special time, and be patient. You may need to adjust your grid as needed as you grow. Some of the crystals may change. I've noticed that my business grid has changed over the years. And so if it feels like that, really listen to your intuition. Whereas some grids I've had and they've never changed. So be patient, do the work, and watch the results. Activate it daily. So you want to be consistent. Sometimes keeping the same time of day is really helpful. And terminations are the points on crystals. And so you can have a single terminated, you can have a double terminated where both sides have points. And so you want to point the terminations inward to draw the energy in. And if you want like to release, you can have the terminations outward. And you can have double terminated for sort of that flow. You don't have to use terminated crystals. It's just an idea. You can use tumbled stones as well. And lastly, keep the crystals arranged precisely. So if you're using the flower of life or the seed of life, or even Metatron's cube, that path has to be in a precise arrangement. So watch to make sure no stones get out of alignment. And if they do, you definitely need to reconnect and activate the grid. Manifestation, step 5. So here's where you've done the work and hopefully you're receiving some guidance and you can take some guided action on the steps to ensure your goal's success. So you have your intention, your belief, plus the energy. You need to take some guided action. Some tips again are to adjust your grid as needed, cleanse it frequently. If your crystals are collecting a lot of dust, they're not emitting the light frequency out as well. And so I like blush brushes. You can dust them off with that. Think positively about it. If you're standing over your crystal grid thinking this isn't going to work, that's counterintuitive. Make sure, again, that they are precisely arranged. It is geometry, so it needs to be accurate. And lastly, release the how and the attachment of outcome. I know I've done that when I've stuck like an idea or something that I've wanted into my grid, and then my mind begins to think of how, and I just have to remember to let go and to put the intention out there and to pay attention, to be fully present in my day and see what comes up or what guidance I receive in terms of how to move forward to manifest what I need. Here's a sample business grid. And the intention behind this one was to have a thriving and successful Reiki practice. The affirmation was, I charge this grid with light, with love, to heal, to serve, and to prosper. And so in the center, I have a jade sphere, and this is on the seed of life. And I really like this because it works great for manifestation purposes. And I just colored the background because I thought it was pretty, and I just printed a free printable online. And the outer or the inner ring here is lapis lazuli. And then this outer ring, these are tumbled rose quartz, and then I have peacock ore. And so to activate this grid, I would start at the center and I would draw my line out, and I would either go left or right and draw it in, connecting all of the crystals that I have. And so it would just go in this rotation, and then you want to go around 3 times, stating your affirmation as you go, like so. And then again, imagining, feeling, really feeling and being with the energy of your crystals, seeing it, feeling it, and sending that out. To the right is another variation of my Reiki Master grid. And then you can see I have some saints and Mother Mary over there. And that's a reading that I had done for myself. And so that's under there because there's certain numbers on there that have meaning for me. And so you can really put anything you want like under your grid like that. As you can see, people have done all sorts of things. And then below, you see the Flower of Life grid, and that has a center of a jade sphere, and then octahedron fluorites, 6 amethysts, and then 12 white quartz. This one is a little bit more complicated to connect, but again, you are just following the lines set out, so you're making sure you connect each and every crystal point so you don't forget any. Here's another grid, and this one is just for like successful life, and here is an example of Metatron's cube. And then for me, I wrote, I succeed and prosper in all areas of my life. And then I wrote explicitly what those were. So I have that visualization for myself every day. Now, another nice idea is if you don't have like a drawer to put little note cards underneath, keeping a basket with your intention or who you're sending the healing energy out to or where you're sending the healing energy. Perhaps there's like fire somewhere or a lot of tension in the world. This is a great way to send good vibes. There's also a world peace grid you could do as well. And you could find that printout and make a grid with white quartz, like 12 white quartz all the way around, and find an appropriate center to send out and prayers and intention and good energy and vibes for, world peace. It's really up to you. Once you start this, it's sort of kind of going down like the rabbit hole, because there's so many really cool things that you can begin to use your light and your love for, because it's your love that's going to command your energy. There's nothing forceful about this process. So this grid is an example of my successful life grid, and I used an orgonite pyramid in the center, and it's peridot, which is my birthstone, and then I used some raw Baltic amber, and then tumble white quartz. And then to connect it, you can either go here or here, and then you go out and around, and you're imagining and visualizing that white light all the way around, emitting to and through the crystals for your intention. You can also do a grid for the chakras, and so I have some suggested ideas here. You can do this, I've seen this really nicely using the Flower of Life, where people put their chakra stones up the center of that, and they put one stone up the center, or people have done it like in a wheel. It's really up to you. So you would want to start with the Earth Star. That one is optional. A lot of people don't include that one, but I like to include it because it's your connection to the earth. And I recommend a smoky quartz or a black tourmaline, which is really nice, or any other black or brown stone. For the roots, a very common stone used for this is red jasper. You can also use a garnet. For the sacral, carnelian. The solar plexus, citrine works well. For the heart, green aventurine or chrysoprase works really well, or rose quartz. For the ascended heart, this is also optional, but it's what made the saints saintly. And I really like chrysoprase for this stone. And for the throat, you can use a blue lace agate, and the third eye, a lapis lazuli, and for the crown, a celestite or even an amethyst would work nicely. And for the soul star, a Herkimer diamond. So if you wanted to make a chakra grid, here are some perspective ideas. Ways to enhance your grid making. Get really clear on your intention. What is the grid for? And again, if you want to send healing energy out to people, places, and things, keep it simple. Do a white quartz grid. Pick the amount of stones you want to do. I recommend using the 6-pointed shape that I've showed you. Also, have a really precise affirmation that incorporates the highest good for all. So although we're putting our intention into things that we want, it's important to command your ego and personality to step aside and incorporate the highest good for all. And honestly, sometimes we don't know what that is, but in setting that intention, the universal life force energy and the healing rays and higher levels of consciousness do. And so what you're doing is you're aligning wills, and you're coming from a place of love, and that definitely enhances your grid making rather than a place of egoic control and personality. Next, you can place an image next to it or other special items that really personalize your grid. Work regularly with visualization. So you do this in the morning, but you want to also think of ways that you can repeat that affirmation and be open to your intuition throughout the day. So I like my drive time, or when I wash dishes or take a shower or do some mundane tasks where my mind is open. And then I often work with the affirmation that I put in my grid. So if I'm working on peace of mind, I'm affirming to myself, I'm peace at all times. So instead of vacuuming and running through the jigsaw of my mind, I'm actually breathing in and affirming what I want. Another really nice trick is programming your subconscious before sleeping. There's a fantastic read called The Power of the Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murray. And this book is about the scientific method of prayer. And it has wonderful anecdotes, historically documented, about people and how they've used prayer and words and language, and how they do that throughout the day to command their reality. And when you come from your heart center, and we know that love is the highest vibration of all, and you begin to tell yourself before you go to bed at night what it is that you'd like to create or want, it's a very, very powerful method. So for example, when I've had like a new position and I've had a lot of new roles, I have often said, I become more organized and proficient every day. And I did that repeatedly, and then I would use my general purpose grid and I would put that affirmation and intention in there. And what I found was I really was becoming more organized and proficient every day. I was learning systems quickly. I was like serendipitously meeting people that would help accelerate my learning curve and so forth. So when you begin to do this, take the work seriously and things begin to line up and you see things that you may have not perceived before because you were operating at a different level of consciousness. Then take some action steps to remove any obstacles that are getting in the way of you getting what you want to manifest, and remove any negative thinking and feelings. And this one can be sticky and can be hard. And if it feels like too strong, my recommendation for you is perhaps before you're asking for what you want, there might be something you need to release or to heal. And you may want to work on setting that intention and setting that information. So simply, one of my favorite phrases by Louise Hay is, I'm willing to release the part of me that created, fill in the blank. And so oftentimes when we're having a hard time manifesting something and we've been like working with our grids, there's usually some lesson or some unhealed energy or some blockage that is getting in the way of that. And so kind of check that out if you're seeing that something just isn't jiving, and taking those action steps towards making it happen. So if you're planning to move and, things are getting sticky and aren't moving, get the luggage out, start packing up the boxes, have faith, believe, start putting things in order and moving forward, even though all the pieces may not be in alignment just yet, because those are sending very strong signals out. So I wish you the best of luck in your crystal grid making, and I thank you for purchasing this video. I hope that you have many wonderful experiences with your crystal grids, and I hope you enjoy the practice as much as I do.